Hi, dear friends. Here we are, 21 days to spiritual awakening. And we're here with you live at Kardec Radio, both the app and Facebook Live, sharing with you another moment in which we deepen our awareness about who we are, what we're doing here, and where we're going to go next. Right? After all, this life is just one stop of learning in our immortal timeline. And what a blessing to be here. A blessing it is for all of us to study more and to be fully aware. Hopefully these study sessions, as therapeutic as they are promoting our deepest awakening moments in life. We're very joyful because this is day 8, chapter 7 of the book Voltei. I'm back, I came back, I've returned. It's already translated into English thanks to the efforts of a beautiful team, and we're very thankful to each one of them. And now on the revision, it's a dream come true. I confess to you that I've been dreaming about the translation of this book for a long time, and thanks to teamwork effort we have it done. So we personally have a lot to be grateful for. The spirits who entrusted to the team the opportunity of translating this jewel. It is a jewel of immortality. Yes, in our immortal knowledge, this book really promotes a shift in our lives. We cannot take it lightly, or we're not gonna dare even to take it for granted, right? We can't. We are really, really grateful, and more grateful to Mark Zuckerberg to bring to us the opportunity of have Facebook Live so we can have our community effort here and the opportunity of studying together. How much do we learn when we are studying together? It's the law of society, my friends. More and more on the earth, we need to value and appreciate the togetherness, this being together. And for many lives, we've been appreciating the solo journeys, the ego journeys. Finally, Spiritism is proving to us that cooperation literally is overcoming competition. Collaboration, cooperation is a law of life. We need to learn to teamwork, to be a team player. And that doesn't mean we're going to do what people want us to do. It means we're going to partake in the works of the good as they happen. That's what it is, because the leader of the world, of the universe, is God. And if God is giving us opportunities to serve and to do the good, is because He is telling us, go, do the good. I trust you, and so should you trust yourself, right? Is it hard for you to feel the trust of God? No, right? Okay, so here we have, thank you, Carol Correa, for connecting with us and double checking the system. Hopefully we are here overcoming obstacles together, overcoming obstacles. By the way, that was precisely the message we were studying at our Spiritist Center today. Emmanuel from the book Rumo Certo, Obstacles. Yes, and the opportunity of learning about how to overcome them. We really need to learn to overcome obstacles in life. And thank you, Carol. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Carol. Thank you. So, can we go through the greeting part of our community so we can immerse ourselves? This chapter is precious, every chapter, but this one is gonna speak to our hearts very, very deeply. Okay? So, hello, Leia. How are you? Hello, Rihanna. How are you? Valéria. How are you, Valéria? And Kátia. How are you, Kátia? Andrea Torres. How are you? Erica, you are here. Mamma mia, can't believe it. Thank you. And Danny somewhere, right? Felipe. How are you, Felipe? Karina. Beautiful Karina. Thank you, Karina. Leonor. Beautiful Leonor. How are you? And Sol. How are you, Sol? Jussara is here. What a joy, Jussara. And Teresa Castro. And many more. I know other friends are with us. And I'm gonna make my homework here. Sharing with other friends that constantly remind me, Vanessa, don't forget about us. I will not forget about you. Right? No. Okay. So here we are. Today's day 8. In 21 days. Does that mean that in 21 days we're awake and done? Oh, don't need to do anything else? No, it means we're going to do more. There's always more. After all, we're in a school named Planet Earth. And in the school, we work, we study, and serve, and never stop, right? By the way, if you want to know more about the nature of our planet and you haven't had the time to do it, please read chapter 3 of the Gospel According to Spiritism. Chapter 3, we're going to learn about the different parts, different worlds, and specifically description about planet Earth. In a planet where the things we're going to learn tonight are very pertaining. I'm going to contextualize before we go into the topic. Brother Jacob is a terrestrial being like us. He was Frederico Figner. He had family. He had his work. He became a spiritist, devoted himself to the practice, discarnated, and found out that it wasn't as easy as he thought once. And he came back kindly to describe to us so we can prevent such happenings in our lives. But now, as discarnated as he is with a group of spirits higher than him, like Dr. Bezerra de Menezes and Brother Andrade, traveling with a group of other entities who have also discarnated to a colony. But to go through the journey, they have to cross some parts of the atmosphere of planet Earth. And yesterday we learned that the emissions of our thoughts really create, an atmosphere that may be very dense and difficult. And today we're going to learn more about it. Okay? As I mentioned yesterday, in a book that is yet to be in English, named Educandario de Luz, by several spirits through Chico Xavier, there is a message in which the spirit Eugênio Vitor, through Chico, mentions to us that within 1,000 kilometers from the crust of the earth, there is what we call the density of where many discarnates are going by or inhabiting the earth. So we're talking about the fact that majority of the people in our planet are discarnated still. And they produce thoughts and feelings as much as we do. And unfortunately, majority, 2/3 of the population of our planet is still of inferior nature. A third is already synchronized with the laws of life, says Emmanuel in a book that is yet to be translated, Roteiro. Okay? I know too much information. Go to Brother Jacob. Chapter 7. Chapter 7 talks about an incident that happened during that trip. He begins, let us feel it. Feeling, let us feel it. If humankind knew the continuation of life that awaits them after the death of the body, certainly other standards of conduct would choose other standards of conduct on earth. He's saying that if we knew more about the laws of action and reaction, we would make wiser choices. But can we say a tip here? A tip. For us, not for you only, for me too. We need to remind ourselves constantly. What I'm choosing now is like a seed. Each thought, each word, each feeling, each action is a seed that is going to germinate if we keep cultivating. Is an action that will have its counterpart, the reaction. Question is, are you ready for it? Am I ready for it? Oh, don't take it lightly. It's as serious as the laws of life. The physical laws of life. You're going to play with gravity, we're going to hurt ourselves. We're going to play with fire, we're going to be burned. We don't play with the laws of life. Some people, they say, oh, but you know, Vanessa, I need a break. And Mentor Joseph keeps asking us to emphasize there's no neutral position when we talk about vibrations. Either we are vibrating to constructive levels of frequency, or we're vibrating to destructive vibrations of frequency. If we read the book Mechanisms of Mediumship by André Luiz, through the hands of Chico Xavier and Valdo Vieira, he tells quite clearly there are only two choices. The only choice is what? Constructive or destructive. Constructive or destructive. So whatever we're going to do, we can measure and ponder. Am I making choices that are constructive or destructive? Oh no. Let's say, in our political world, many people are saying, no, but what I'm doing is the correct things. It's benefiting this group. But we're talking about the general good. The general good. I'll give a simple example. If you wake up tomorrow, or you're awake today, depending on where you are on this world, if you're awake and you say, oh well, I'm gonna plant a tree. Great. That tree is good for you, for those in your household, for those in your neighborhood, for those in the planet. Good choice. And if I decide not to pick up the skin of a banana on the floor because I wasn't the one, let's say I'm passing by a street and on the sidewalk there's the skin of a banana, and I say, oh well, it wasn't me, I don't have to pick it up. and you go by. Poor choice, unhealthy choice. Somebody else comes, they fall, they break a leg. And then there's a whole story that follows it. We are co-responsible. And then I go home and I pray, oh God, please help me. Help me become happier, be happier, protected, harmonious. But I forgot to pick up the skin of a banana because I thought it was not my duty. What is our duty? To serve. It's not the right. It's a duty. It's not our right. It is our universal duty to serve. Our role is to serve. Always. Right? Adilson is here. Solange is here. Luciana Antoni are here. Lisa Teles is here. Danny is here. Thank you, friends. Come on, join us. So, Brother Jacob says that we really need to be conscientious. You want to measure? How conscientious are we? Scale 0 to 10. 0 being like not at all, and 10 like I'm conscientious. I'm fully aware of my duties, universal duties. It's not your job duties, universal duties. So you and I, today, if you have a to-do list or a job duty list at work, and you say, well, I have my duties as a mom, as a spouse, as a teacher, as a scientist, as this. Yeah, but swiping the floor of somebody else's house is not my duty. According to the spirits, helping others is our duty. So next time you visit somebody, you're invited to clean their floor too. Too extreme, right? No, not at all. Can I give an example? I will. Not mine. Jorge Godinho Neri, the president of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation. One time he was here visiting us before he was the president of the Brazilian Spiritist Federation. He was visiting us at the Spirit side of Virginia. And at the time we did an outdoor event, and we rented some folding chairs. When the event ended and people already left, we were just breaking down, setting up for the next day. Out of nothing, and this is him because I've met him and I know him for quite a while, he started folding the chairs and helping people put it in a van that is going to, return to the location from which we rented the chairs. And I was like, you don't need to do this. And then he smiled. I know him. He smiled. Vanice, come on, I'm here to help. I didn't invite him to fold the chairs, but he did. Like 3 years ago, maybe. Yeah, or 4. So this is what we're talking about. The level of consciousness that the person knows that no title refrains me from being human and from being a servant of God. If the governor of the planet went fishing with Peter and James and others, why am I not gonna fish? And fishing meaning, why am I not going to partake in people's services, in people's works? Carol Correa is saying she can clean the floor with joy. I know, Carol. But that's exactly what we're talking about. And we can do this anywhere. And people may look at you and find it weird, like, why are you doing this? What is your agenda? My agenda? No agenda. I'm just doing what is supposed to be done. Okay? Brother Jacob then said, I'm not referring here to people who are materialists without faith. In fact, most atheists are nothing more than a great assembly of spiritual children in need of protection and teaching. Got it, friends? So if you have friends who don't believe in God, they're just spiritual children. They need protection and teaching. So stay still, protect them, be kind to them, and wait. I strongly refer to those who adopt a religious belief using lips and passions without being intimately attached to the renewing truths they embrace. We ourselves, those who benefit from contacting with the principles of Spiritism, especially those of us who hear the message of those who breathe on other planes of eternal life, if we were less verbose and more fulfilling of the lessons we have received and conveyed, other conditions would characterize us beyond the grave, because unfailing justice lurks everywhere, and we carry with us wherever we go the marks or faults or virtues we have conquered. So he's telling us, we know enough, friends, to be different. Are you different from the community that you live with? And I'm not saying different in the sense of I'm different because I have a different hair color or different clothes. We're talking about the moral conduct. Are you different? How different are you? We're supposed to be different. Not because we want to be different, but because we need to walk the talk. That means, I'll give an example. If I drop off Virginia at school, okay, my daughter at school, nobody says good morning. Let's say pretend. Nobody says good morning. Oh, I'm not going to say good morning either. Nobody says good morning to me. No. According to these teachings, we're supposed to be loving and kind and feel it. Looking at people saying, good morning. And instead of just saying good morning, we're going to sing and dance for them. Saying, good morning, la 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 la. And they're going to look at us and say, you're weird. No. That part is too much, I agree. But we're supposed to be loving and kind and smiling and saying no to things that we're not going to do. Oh, but Vanessa, if I say no to peer pressure at work, well, we really need to have the courage to overcome obstacles. Right, Rihanna? She says, my dad learned. He taught you to help always. He will always wash the dishes and help with everything he can, even if it's the first time he visits someone or place. Your dad is welcome to our home. He's welcome here. Angelita. Hello, Angelita. And for those who are watching us or hearing us or watching on demand, remember fraternitywithoutborders.org need your help. They're doing beautiful works in Brazil, Mozambique, Madagascar, and especially now in Madagascar where Angelita is, they are in great need of help. So go there, sponsor a child, donate. You are donating to the children. You're not donating to sustain volunteers, because volunteers, they are volunteers, right, Angelita? Selena, our beautiful Selena, who kindly recorded chapters of the book Thought in Life, and Kardec Radio is playing them soon. before July 4th, we're going to release a new web page with all the programs. You see beautiful programs 24/7 that are really, I enjoy. And as Brian Foster says, let us binge here, Kardec Radio. Okay, after the grave, we know with accuracy that the realm of the good or the domain of evil dwells within ourselves. If we discarnate today, you ready? We're going to ask this until the end of these 21 days. Are we ready or not? Be ready. Prioritize. Now, remember, I'm going to show you some slides, okay? Allow me to show you some slides. I'm going to move the camera because our system is not in place yet. But remember, when we saw the slides, I'm going to keep explaining as I show it to you. Boom. Remember, Brother Jacob, his daughter, Dr. Bezerra, spirit mentors, and the teacher who had her own light. She discarnated, and that's exactly what Brother Jacob is saying. She's presenting her own light. The one that was so influential, had positions here and there, no light. She has light. So we really need to pay attention to this and make wiser decisions in our lives. So now they are traveling to a colony. They go through a very difficult region, and take a look at the picture. Dr. Bezerra de Menezes is in charge of it. Other mentors, Brother Jacob, Brother Andrade, and others discarnates with instructors are traveling through. And he says, we moved ahead without novelty, little by little adapting to volitation, and he was amazed. He says, he didn't feel like ascending. He felt actually as if they were slow signs of life and movement appeared. Noises of unpleasant voices reached our ears from time to time. And he says here for us, monstrous shapes appeared visible to our gaze. As far as I could tell, we floated over volcanic region whose unstable soil offered eruptions at various points. What afflicted me sincerely was the contemplation of a being of lamentable appearance beyond the road margins. He says that he was seeing sinister figures like in mythology. Brother Andrade noticed that Brother Jacob was becoming afraid, and in a low voice he explained that the planes inhabited by the incarnated mind emitted creations of discarnated spirits. Those were disturbed, if not horrifying forms, since most of the terrestrial creatures in the flesh or discarnated denounce themselves in their innermost fiber through their almost irrational behavior. Now, let's go back here. Go back here. Come back here to us, please. Let me break this down. Brother Andrade and Dr. Bezerra de Menezes are telling us here. He pointed out that the sphere common to the common person is populated by a true plethora of strange, capricious, and very fierce beings. He even said that innumerable wise spirits of higher spirituality classify such a region as the empire of the dragons of evil. I recall the reading of the mediumistic pages which I had known before death, and the devoted companion confirmed them, declaring that the area where we were traveling was really the vast lower zones between the incarnate brothers and the neighboring circles. That's the reason why we need to be careful about what we think and what we feel. He emphasized that thought spreads vibrations in all latitudes of the universe, and that projections of the minds, the incarnated minds in the terrestrial planet, do not correspond to the superior ideals that inspire the laws of humanity. Okay? So, friends, here we have it. The opportunity of learning about thought is life. I'm going to quickly go through this paragraph so we can meditate together. Humans added the protect, he said, we on the outside, we're apparently noble and courteous, and in real life, majority of people are actually very impulsive like animals. And in the free manifestation of spirit prevails the truth of the soul, not the passing appearances. Therefore, we observe the wide cosmorama of dark, tortured, and painful landscapes which surrounds the earthly home, in whose equality, subtle substance, the perverse entities operate. So the benefactor emphasized that in such places the emissary of love can so exercise himself in the renunciation for the good, as well as the shady evildoer may commit themselves to crime and evil. So he stopped asking. But here we're learning the rule. Rule, thought is life. Feelings. We really need to be careful. We really need to be careful. What we think, what we feel. We need to be very vigilant and ask ourselves, am I feeling the need of receiving? You know, some people, they're constantly in need of being reassured that they are there, that people have to always be around telling them, you're great, you're wonderful. And talking about this, you probably have watched the movie Florence, right? Florence. It's a recent movie. It's a true case about a woman who lived in New York, and she was an opera singer, but she wasn't good. But from the very beginning, people didn't tell her the truth. And they kept praising her. Praising. One day, the truth comes to light. She dies. She couldn't handle the truth. But she's not completely at fault. She lacks self-evaluation, of course, because you have ears to hear. She was not deaf. She could have evaluated herself. But her ego plus, because of her money and how people wanted to take advantage, they kept praising her, and then disaster. She spent a whole reincarnation thinking something of herself that was not true. That's why the spirits say, do not praise people. We need to be kind. Have you ever heard of Jesus saying, oh, you are the best person doing the prayer. Oh, now you did a wonderful talk. We've never heard of Jesus doing such a thing. He was encouraging. He was, and still is, invitational, empowering, but he never invested on this false praising system. So we needed to think about this. Brother Andrade is explaining to us here that our vibrations, very close to the earth, there are the lower zones. As we learn in André Luiz books, Andrea Torres is kindly reminding us of a movie that portrays this very similarly, What Dreams May Come. Right? Hello, Laura Corlihi. Hello, my friend. Beautiful grandmother, beautiful granddaughter. A big kiss to you and the family. Hello, Rita de Cássia. And thank you, Andrea, for sharing these insights that certainly can help many, many people. So, now a warning. And I think this is the key for us today. Key. They don't know how many hours, but he was tired. And that's something for us to think about when we are going through, when we are near these inferior vibrations, we also tend to feel more tired. We are always rejuvenated around superior vibrations. They are rejuvenating. So that's a good tip if people want to be rejuvenated. You know, easy peasy. Do the good. That's the best. Do the good. Seek the good. Feel the good. Visualize the good. And mold the good with all the resources you can. And there you go. It's a spiritual, revitalizing plastic surgery. Yeah, look at Divaldo Franco. I'm not kidding. Yeah, he's better than many people who are in their 20s. And he's already 90 years of age, right? So he says, he kept going, and then Dr. Brazier paused. And he said, as they were approaching a bridge, that in that bridge, there were groups of spirits of lower zone who wanted to block the pathway of those candidates for the light. So he said, I will ask you for calmness, decision, determination, and silence and prayer. And above all, he reminded us of the obligation to forget any serious fault of the past in order not to be attuned with the ignorant evildoers in those domains. Pause. Breathe in and out. What did he say again? If we are feeling guilty, we are going to be easy prey in the hands of those spirits who are more ignorant than us. If you and I, Brother Jacob, and those who are transitioning, those who are living here or those who are transitioning, if they focus on their mistakes of the past, they're going to be vulnerable to the attacks of low order spirits. And you now, fair enough, may be asking, Vanessa, how am I going to cherish my humility if I don't recall the wrongs that I've done? Bah, the sound, buzzing. Wrong. It's the wrong rationale. In this book, Thought and Life, there's a chapter titled Humility. Okay? Right, Celina Pinto, who kindly recorded it, page 89. Let me go here. Humility is not about thinking how inferior you are. That's a mistaken knowledge about humility. No, it's a myth. Humility is not about thinking how inferior you still are. No. Humility is about what? He says here. precisely this. Humility is not subservience. It is primarily independence and inner freedom springing from the depths of one's spirit, sustaining its continuous renewal towards the good. Those who wear the crown of humility will gladly work and serve for the general good. They will bring harmony to their being by expressing in themselves the divine laws, which never make a show of the bounties they pour upon all. So being humble is about looking above us. Oh God, you're so great. I'm here to serve you. That's humility. Humility is not about putting us down. Humility is not about saying, oh, who am I? I'm nobody. No. Humility is about knowing that the greatness is always of God. And we're here because of God, for God, to God, and to everything that God created. That's why we're serving. This is humility. It's a positive action. It's not a negative action. So here we have Dr. Bezerra de Menezes telling us that focusing on the evil or the bad decisions we make is not good. We need to forgive ourselves and forget and say, look, I'm not going to do it again. God, please help me, and focus on the good. Focus on the good. Focus on the good. Like Paul of Tarsus. He didn't stay there. Oh, I killed so many people. Who am I now to preach about Jesus? Who am I? I didn't even meet Jesus. Isn't it so interesting? Because recently people tell me, Vanessa, have you met this person, that person? I know people who have never met Chico Xavier and talk about Chico Xavier. I said, you know, who is entitled to talk about Chico Xavier? The person who met him in person, or anybody who feels Chico Xavier? Paul of Tarsus, he can talk about Jesus because he had his encounter within himself. And that doesn't dissipate his wrongdoings in the past. But he forgave himself, put it aside, and kept focusing on the good, humbly working on himself, always saying, there is a next moment. What's next, God? What's next, God? What is next, God? Where is your thermometer of guilt? In a scale 0 to 10, are you super guilty? 10. Or are you feeling not guilty at all? 0. Guilt doesn't serve a purpose. And that's why we need to do the good. Some people say, I'm going to do the good when I feel better. When I am better. When it's not going to happen. We need to do it now. To become better. So Brother Jacob is sharing with us that when they were crossing that bridge, and I'm going to show you the picture again, okay? Picture again, okay? Look at this. This is where they were. Cameras change. There you are. That's where we were. And then they see a bridge. And in this bridge, you see the drawing? They have to go through here. Look at the light that is coming through from the colony side. But at the edge of this side, there are many beings of the lower zones who really, in an ignorant way, are trying to create obstacles for people who are just discarnated to go through that bridge. So, in that illuminated bridge, okay, he says, So beautiful and touching was the revelation in the near horizon that we started crying. Our emotions did not come only from the clarity that touched our eyes, but touching messages of love transpired from those brilliant rays which swept the sky, copying the beauty of a mobile rainbow. While many companions struggled to contain the haunting notes that dominated us at the cost, I closed my eyes, naturally ashamed. Sudden fear roamed my soul. Had I fulfilled all my duties? If called to appear before a court of the higher life, would I be qualified and presented a conscience clear of guilt? How would my deeds be examined? Would good intentions be enough to justify one's faults? The light signal crossed the sky slowly again. My joy at approaching the highest plane was inexhaustible, but the notion of responsibility for the gifts I received in the world I had left now weighed much more heavily on me. Would it be worthy of the entrance into that heavenly abode? Tears flowed copiously as the group stopped. At this time I heard one of the newly discarnated brothers crying out in convulsive weeping, "No, no, I can't go through it. I killed somebody on earth. I do not deserve the divine light. I am a murderer, a murderer." Those cries echoed gloomily through the shadows. Other voices answered horribly, "Let's watch the bridge. Assassins do not pass, they do not pass it." It seemed to me that molds of beasts were preparing to attack us. Not distant, the glooming projection of the invisible spotlight cleared the path, as if it had been moving in slow motion. Between us, emotions and tears next to a brother in crisis. Around us, threats and strange lamentations. Beyond the divine light. Bezerra de Menezes, serenely and deeply worried, broke the expectation and made us aware that we should forget the mistakes of the past, and that one of our friends, in view of exchanging with the memory of evil, had imposed discontinuity on our journey. Now, hold on, friends. Come back here. Hold on. Breathe in and out. This information is precious, okay? Because it serves to you and I, whether we incarnated or discarnated. Right now on the earth, there's much turmoil. If I focus my mind on, as Dr. Bezerra de Menezes is saying here, on the mistakes of the past, I'll be vulnerable. And we may create instability in the lives of people in our lives, in our families, in our spirit centers, in our communities. So we should not focus on the choices of the past. We need to be mindful and focus on the choice of the present. So whenever guilt comes to you, tell yourself, I'm a child of God. I made that poor choice, but God, please grant me permission. Please grant me permission to overcome, to repair. Please, please, please. And you will be able to go through the process much more easily. Tell yourself, I am a child of God. I must be happy. It's not a right. It's not a deserving. I must, because if you are not, the people in your life will not be either. We're interdependent. So he's saying to us, brother, our dear Dr. Bezerra de Menezes, we should forget the mistakes of the past. So today, you and I are receiving a gift. Dr. Bezerra is saying, forget your mistakes of the past. Okay? Because if you don't, you're going to create problems for the people in your life as well. He emphasized that the reminiscence of past crimes should not disturb us, and that it would suffice to attune excessively with the past to cause serious injury to ourselves and others under delicate circumstances. But for us who are incarnated, we are easy prey of these spirits of the lower zones if we stay in guilt. So today you're being called, get out of guilt. Come out. Come out. No, don't stay in prison there. And he says that brother in crisis was actually a murderer in another life, but he worked for his regeneration. He worked for 30 years, and he deserved the protection of the higher spirits. We needed to reestablish the common mental bond so that our validating ability would be kept to a high standard. So now he asks Brother Jacob, Dr. Bezerra looks at Brother Jacob and asks him to say a prayer so they can raise their vibrations as a group and keep validating as they cross the bridge in spite of the lower zonal spirits that are trying to create obstacles, vibratorily speaking. Okay? So Brother Jacob actually was like hesitant at first, but then he received the encouragement of Martha, his daughter, Brother Andrade, and beautiful enough, he recalled the Psalm 23, the one that his daughter Martha kept saying out loud. So he said, though we walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we shall fear no evil, because he, the Lord, is with us. His will and his vigilance comforts us. So as they started praying, they started volatilizing again, and they crossed the bridge, and they were reaching the bridge on the other side. Okay? So this is beautiful for us because it's an opportunity for us to evaluate where we are in terms of our recollections of our wrongdoings. If we don't forgive ourselves, forget, and propose ourselves to do different, we'll be easy prey of such spirits. And we need to use prayer to elevate our levels of vibration. He says it's hard to describe the whole experience. But for you and I, tonight, we are granted a gift of freedom, being humble. Humility is a saving grace. Because the ones who are humble, they do not feel guilt. They feel responsible. Those who are humble, they do not rumble. Just to give us a little bit of samba here with the words. Humility for us here is this magnificently manifested power, divine power within ourselves. If we're truly humble, we're not going to allow ourselves to be easy prey of those spirits, because we're going to be constantly redirecting ourselves to the reference God, knowing that we're yet to boost ourselves to another level, not giving in at all to this game of guilt. so we can cross the bridges of our own obstacles, the inner obstacles, and achieve the inner heaven, clear conscience. My friends, this is a beautiful opportunity for you to meditate in the next 24 hours. Rid yourself of guilt. Do not focus on the poor choices of the past. Instead, put your whole self into doing the good. And as we do the good, we'll be closer to God. We'll be deeply connected with God. Feeling the good, seeking the good, visualizing the good, molding our lives to do the good. And thanks to the good spirits, may we have 24 hours of beautiful practice, being awake and boosting the positive wherever we are. Thank you, friends, and until tomorrow, God willing.